Hello, and welcome to the first episode of the Super Limit Break podcast. This is going to be a weekly podcast hosted by myself. My name is Logan, and my buddy Shaun. How's it going, Shaun?
Pretty damn good. Happy to be here. I'm happy to finally be recording an episode that I know is going to see the internet one day.
I am, too.
I have faith in that.
And that's a little bit of inside baseball because we've had some issues getting not only this show, but our previous show consistently onto the internet for everybody. So the reins are in our hands this time, and we're going to make sure that it works. So
now, if there's any problems, it's all my fault. Like, I cannot place blame on anyone else anymore, so this should be exciting.
Direct all of your hatred, hate mail, comments, and general ire towards Shaun.
Yes. Now I'm not going to give out my Twitter handle, but thank you, Logan.
So, speaking of which, Shaun, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, why the fuck you're talking to people on the internet, and where they might find you?
Well, I guess I'll start with the good stuff. I'm a Christian. I'm white. No, I'm...
And deleting podcasts.
Yes, yes. No. I'm a really big fan of a lot of things. I can't really say... I had to struggle there because I hate the word gamer, the term, because that's not really all that this show's about. That's not all I'm about. I love everything: music, books, games, especially movies and anime. And the whole idea for me forcing myself onto you people is that I love my own voice and my opinions, and I like having discussions with people who are also pretty strongly opinionated. Normally, I'm the smart one, and I get to be the stupid fuck and learn some shit when I talk to you. So I forced myself to get on the internet because I'm actually kind of a bashful, shy person, and I'm like incredibly sad and lonely, and that's why I spend so much time anonymously surfing YouTube and leaving comments.
Of course.
So all the diarrhea is out now. And whether I said anything about who I am, I think just hearing me ramble like that is probably giving you a pretty good idea.
Right. Basically, we're very passionate about our hobbies, and we have these really in-depth analytical conversations anyway, so we thought, well, why aren't we recording this? This is something I would want to listen to. I'm sure there's others that agree.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, we're telling ourselves that at least.
In theory.
Yes. So, Shaun, where might people find you? Do you have any footprint on the internet right now?
Yeah, basically, I would say, I mean, I'm all over, but I'm never very active anywhere. I'm a creeper, you know, I just kind of lurk. But Twitter would be the best place, and that is solid Junkernaut. I know, I'm trying to think. I think Instagram's the same thing, and sometimes I'm on there, but it's your best place is Twitter if you want to bug me.
So now you know, the previously aforementioned hate mail, send it to Twitter. That's
send it to Twitter.
Solid Junkernaut. You'll find him. As for me, I'm very much the same as Shaun, very passionate in my hobbies. I enjoy reading, very big into video games, movies, anime, really general nerdy things, and I hate just boiling myself down to such a rough stereotype, but so many of those things are things that I'm interested in, that it fits whether I want it to or not, type of thing.
Right.
So I just like coming on here. I'm extremely over-analytical to the point where I ruin experiences for myself because I'm critiquing them so much, and I can't turn that off. So rather than turn it off, I've just decided to embrace it and let it be what it is. So whether it's on this podcast, on a forum post, or on my YouTube channel, that's just how I roll. So that's how that goes. As far as what I do on the internet so far, for the past couple of years, I've had a YouTube channel, and that is Hell Destroyer 77. That's all one word. And on that, I started off doing collection updates and unboxings and things of that sort because I have an enormous video game collection. I'm sitting at around 1,300 games, no greatest hits, all mint, etc. And I really enjoyed sharing that with people. Not just for the fact of, look at all the shit I have, but I could really help show people these hidden gems or little niche titles. Or that was a thing that was really fun with it, aside from just stroking my own ego, obviously. And I've kind of transitioned the channel now into news stories, discussion topics, looking at controversies, and video game collecting tips because while you can certainly just go out and willy-nilly buy things, if you really want to have a collection that's worthwhile, in my opinion at least, you should kind of hold yourself to some rules and some standards to make sure that you're buying things that are worthwhile and you don't really have a collection of junk in your house. You have a collection of high-quality items. So I try and bring all that type of content forward. I no longer do collector's editions or steelbooks. I've transitioned away from those. So I don't do unboxings on my channel anymore, except for very, very rare occasions. But yeah, that's mainly where you'll find me on the internet. I'm also on Twitter under the same name, HellDestroyer77. And as far as on forums go, I use Cheap Ass Gamer quite a lot. I'm a huge advocate of the site. And on there, you'll find me under ZAKU Zaku77. So that's me and my internet footprint in a nutshell.
Yeah, and probably anybody listening to this has already bought something from you off Cheap Ass Gamer or YouTube.
Yeah, no shit. As I said, I recently stopped doing collector's editions and steelbooks, and I had a big sale for it. That went on for about 6 months. I went through over 800 feet of bubble wrap, shipped packages to every corner of the earth. It was quite an experience.
And anybody who got something from you has seen the amount of care that goes into your collection. It has to be pure. It has to be perfect. That's what I like about you. You know, you're not the first German to feel like that, but you're certainly the best and my favorite.
Yeah, because for me, it's not just about pure Aryan blood. It's about a pure Aryan attitude. So, yeah, that's who I am. That's who Shaun is. We are the goofballs that are going to be coming at your eardrums every week with our little show here, so hopefully you guys enjoy it.
Some hot oral. It's a little too much.
Too soon.
Speaking to one man, you know, if anybody's eavesdropping, which hopefully, please, people listen, it does seem a little weird that I say so much gay stuff when I'm talking to just one man.
Well, yeah, but you have to keep in mind, with all the government people listening, you're talking to many men. So.
Yes. Ooh.
And that makes it just so much more fun.
Well, I myself am feeling kind of guilty that this is our inaugural episode, and I honestly haven't played enough games to even consider myself hardcore anymore.
It happens sometimes.
I've officially slipped into the casual territory.
Well, that's a problem right there. I'm going to have to find me a new co-host.
Yeah, well, so it's something that I'll level out with some other shit. I plan on doing more, but you know how plans work, man.
Of course. So if you've not been gaming, what have you been up to?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. How plans work. They always fall apart, kind of like my car has and the weather has. And I've been snowed into one house or another for pretty much the last 4 days almost.
Okay, so snowed in, what are we talking here? Like 6 inches or?
Like 16 inches overnight. Like, I can't move my car out of the driveway until we pay somebody to come plow the driveway or it melts.
My mind can't even comprehend
3
that.
degrees. Yeah, well, I'm sure you have to deal with that every once in a while.
Okay, so I live on the West Coast. For us, 8 inches is like stop the presses, shut down the state. You know,
oh, really?
Lock your doors. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess. See, I was up Seattle area, but that was like June, July. So of course I didn't see what their winters were like. But I just assumed, you know, being close to Canada and all that cold shit, I figured that you guys had pretty bad winters up in the Northwest.
You know, in the north or Northwest, like Idaho, you definitely get more. In certain parts of Washington, you'll get much more. But I live in Oregon, and for us, we'll get like one snowstorm a year, but we'll get 8 to 10 inches if we're lucky. This year, that's not even happened. We've had like one ice storm for 2 days, no snow, fuck all.
Yeah, that would be really nice. But I will say this though, at least my car broke down. Actually, this was yesterday, and apparently it's an alternator problem. But at least it broke down on the one day where it wasn't a blizzard. This last like 4 days, it was the one day it was clear, and I'd finally gotten all my shit out of my dad's house because I had stayed there. I was watching. I got you know 2 little brothers and sisters. I'm staying over there because they have snow days, obviously, because everything's snowed in. So I was staying there to help watch them, and I ended up just getting snowed in for a couple more days than expected. Finally get out of there, and I'm, probably 100 yards away from the entrance to my apartment complex, and my fucking car breaks down. Like, first my radio goes off, and I'm just like, okay, so I go to hit the radio back on. Nope, that's not working. And then I notice my clock is dimming. All the lights on my dash are dimming. And, oh shit, okay, now pedal to the floor, and I can't go more than 10 miles an hour. That's how I knew it was a problem. Yeah, I knew I was having a problem. So, you know, I just did what anybody does. I just fucking threw on the hazard lights that weren't working because they were dimming, like they were just dying. And I just sat there in turning lane on one of the busiest streets at 5 o'clock in the afternoon waiting for my tow truck. So
that's rough.
And I had planned on coming home having a nice dinner and enjoying my evening instead of sitting outside for, 100 yards away from my apartment, sitting in a freezing-ass car waiting for a tow truck. That was really exciting.
Wow. Yeah, that sounds like a great way to spend some time.
So how have you been? Has your week been better?
Actually, my week's been not too shabby at all. I just recently got myself set up with a new webcam. It's the Logitech C920. It shoots HD 1080p video, which is really cool.
Blackheads now, huh?
Yeah. Because I have been using my laptop's webcam, and it's like a early Windows 7 laptop. It supported 720p. I mean, for a laptop webcam, especially one that's like 6 years old, it's not bad at all. But compared to this is way better. And on top of that, I now have myself a blue snowball mic. So I've just had fun setting all this stuff up, getting my audio and video quality way better, and returning to YouTube. Because I've not been able to record videos since November because I've been having issues with the laptop and stuttering during recording.
Yeah, it's no good.
Yeah, so that shit's gone now, and I'm coming back with way better quality. I put up a video yesterday just to say, hey, I'm back, I have new quality now, yay me. And I recorded another video today that's going to be going up about emulators and how they're so fucking awesome.
Oh, nice. See, I like that one because I'm a huge pirate.
Yeah, you know what's funny? I realized after I recorded it, I completely left out the little conversation about like, oh, well, you can rip your own ISOs or you can pirate the ROMs. No, I left that out.
Wait, because I remember talking to you. You wanted to do an episode about emulators, and that was one of your main points. Is just like, oh, it's great for me because I just rip my own ISOs and da-da-da, and you never even brought that up. So everybody's going to really think you embrace piracy now.
Yep, so I completely left that out, and I'm a little bit irritated.
I smell an annotation coming. I know you won't let that slide.
Yeah, I'm going to have to do something. I just wish annotations actually showed up on mobile and tablet, but... Yeah, so I got that recorded, and I've just been having fun getting my setup all ready to go. Other than that, I've actually been playing not a lot of games in the fact that, like, I put a lot of hours into the ones I'm playing. Not a lot of games in the fact that I've been playing several different titles, because I've not at all.
Right. And that's a good thing sometimes.
Yeah, so I'm just going to go ahead and dive right into that. I recently, 4 or 5 days ago, I went back to Hyrule Warriors after a several-month hiatus.
What?
Yeah, because I didn't...
like new DLC? What the hell made you go back to Hyrule Warriors?
There's been a lot. Not only did I not finish what was already there, but there's been a few updates that added new story content, new adventure mode content, like 4 new characters, just for free as title updates.
Nice.
And I had the season pass already purchased, so I had 2 DLC packs to download, and the Majora's Mask one is going to be out pretty soon too, with more maps and 2 more new characters. So there was a lot of new shit on top of just all the base game content that I hadn't finished yet. You know, I love that fucking game, I gotta be honest. I like Dynasty Warriors games, or Musou games, if you will, but I don't tend to like the standard Dynasty Warriors series. I'm not really into, what's the source for that? Romance of the Three Kingdoms, I think it is. You know, all the Chinese, Lu Bu.
Yeah.
That doesn't do it for me. I like Japanese history. I'm not as interested in Chinese history, just because I'm a weeaboo and not a Chinese equivalent, and just...
Now I'm trying to think, I can't think of it, but there's a you say Romance of the Three Kingdoms, I almost feel like that is it, but a franchise that started as like a simulation strategy on like Japanese computers and then went to NES, but and anyway, now PS2 there's but isn't in Japan, like, isn't there a big MMO in that style? But the whole franchise is named after, you're saying, like, I'm not into the Chinese history. It's a Japanese guy who was, like, a big part of some Japanese, revolution or some shit.
The Romance of the Three Kingdoms stuff has been used as a backdrop for a lot of different franchises, and much more so than just video games. I'm not...
Okay, yeah, but is that Japanese or Chinese, the romance stuff?
I might be mistaken on this. I want to say it's Japanese origin regarding Chinese history.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's the story on that.
Yeah. I wish I would have been prepared to even discuss this, because that show I watch, that I can't even think of the name of now, Game Center CX. One of the first episodes in, like, season 1 or 2, they actually interview that guy, and it's all about, like, shoguns and stuff, and, I know you like that kind of shit.
Oh, okay.
Well, so I was saying, if you're not into that, maybe you try this franchise. I know they have a MMO game.
Interesting. Yeah, if it's about shoguns and whatnot, that would definitely be, like, feudal Japanese history. But, yeah, I don't know. The Chinese stuff, I don't dig it that much. It's fine. It's not like I dislike it. It's just, it doesn't really, like, burn my embers on the inside. So I've always really enjoyed Musou games that are not set in that period, like the Dynasty Warriors Gundam series. Fuck yeah, I love Gundam. That is a love letter to me. So those are awesome. Or One Piece Pirate Warriors, again, that's from Tecmo Koei. That's Kaizoku Musou in Japan, so it's part of that series. Those are awesome because I like One Piece, and that's a much more fun backdrop for it. And now Zelda characters, like pulling from a bunch of different Zelda franchises, and all the characters are completely redone, like new designs for them. That is such a cool backdrop for a Dynasty Warriors game, so I love it in that regard.
So who's your favorite character then? Like, I mean, they all play completely different, right?
They do all play quite a bit different. Link is an absolute badass for his crowd control, but so many of the characters are awesome. One of the new original ones, Volga, he's a lot of fun. Ganondorf is awesome to play as. I think it would be between Volga, Ganondorf, and Link. Those are the ones I've enjoyed the most. And they're all big fucking sword guys, so that's not too surprising.
Is Sheik in it?
Sheik is in it, Impa's in it, Princess Ruto, Agatha from Twilight Princess. It's got all sorts of characters. But
that's fucking awesome, dude. See, yeah, I didn't really follow much. I mean, obviously, I don't have a Wii U, so I don't pay too much attention, but I know a little bit. But I didn't know Sheik was in. Is she sweet or does she suck?
She's not bad at all. Zelda's in it on her own. There's tons of characters. It's got a legend mode that takes you through the original story for the game, and then there's an adventure mode where like you go through set maps, like one-screen maps from like the NES Zelda game, where you can use items to uncover hidden stuff, and each one of the different squares,
awesome.
Yeah, and each one of the different squares is like a different challenge mission, like complete in this time or kill this many of these captains, and like there's just fuck tons of content. You level all your guys up. There's equipment for them that can be combined for skills. They learn new moves and they get their abilities bolstered by items that you find and you use on them to craft badges. Like there's a ton of shit to do in this game. And it's the Dynasty Warriors formula with a heavy coat of Zelda layered over it and a crap load of content. So that's pretty awesome. It has its shortcomings, though. There's dialogue in it, which is fine, but they don't talk, which is a little bit weird because, like, there's a narrator that talks, and then they have dialogue, but they don't speak the dialogue. Instead, they just make, like, random noises like, you know, which just comes off being incredibly awkward. I would rather just have it be voiced. I know that Zelda games aren't normally voiced, but Dynasty Warriors games are normally voiced. So when you're running around out on the field and there's like constant chatter between all the generals and characters, in a Dynasty Warriors game, in any of the other series, including like the Gundam and One Piece ones, those are voiced. In this, it's not. It's just, I don't know. I don't like that aspect of it. The texture quality
what, has Link ever had a voice? Like Link, specifically?
None of them have ever had actual dialogue. It's always just been like, you know...
Yeah, so, dude, come on. You know people would rage if the first time Link had a voice was in a fucking offshoot Musou game.
To be fair, Link doesn't have dialogue in this one. He has a fairy that talks for him.
Oh, well...
So they could still get away with it.
Yeah, you just hear, hey, listen, hey... Yeah, fuck that shit. I don't.
Yeah.
I just want dialogue, no voices from the fairy bitch.
But I mean, the game has its shortcomings. The texture quality is really iffy. It's aliased like crazy, like jaggies everywhere. It apparently can run at 60 frames per second if you like go in a corner and zoom in and don't look at anything. But it runs anywhere from 30 to sub 30.
I hope to see a YouTube video of this from you. Like, show us the best corner to get 60 in.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, it fluctuates like crazy. Honestly, given the fact that the game clearly cannot handle running at 60, I wish they would have just locked it at 30, because it's so all over the place. It doesn't even stay there, though. When you get a lot going on screen, it literally feels like slow motion sometimes. And I don't understand that, because there's been these types of games on PS3. Sengoku Basara, which is probably my favorite of these type of games. It's not part of the Dynasty Warriors series, but they are Musou-style games. That runs at a very crisp, smooth 60 FPS on PS3. So why couldn't they have optimized this engine to do that too? Like, I know it's possible. So just little things like that are really irritating. I would love if this game existed on PS4 or on PC where it could be the same game, but just on better hardware and technically improved.
Well, it will soon when they finally get that Wii U emulator.
That would be fucking incredible. But yeah, I mean, technical issues aside, if you like Musou games, and especially if you like Zelda, man, it's awesome. So I've really been enjoying that.
Yeah, I think the last Musou I played was like 99 Nights, and that wasn't anything special.
I really like those. Those games are awesome. I
mean, they were fine, but like, I don't know. I played Dynasty Warriors on PS2, and I don't feel like 99 Nights did anything new. But what do I know? Like, I never got in depth, with them. I just played it surface level fan type, and maybe I just don't like those kind of games. But I think running around as, obviously I like Sheik, I wouldn't keep bringing her up, or Zelda, or even, Link, just doing that kind of stuff would be fucking awesome.
It is fantastic. And there's actually a Dragon Quest game coming out, Dragon Quest Heroes, that's a Musu-style game, too, which I'm sure we're not going to get, because Square Enix hates us and doesn't give us Dragon Quest things anymore.
Yeah,
but...
they're really... I don't even like bringing up Dragon Quest at all, because it just makes me think about the shit that we're not getting.
Yeah.
Instead of, being appreciative of what we have, I'm like, fuck that, where's 7? The remake on 7, 10... Yeah, I don't want to go there.
Yeah, that's all. Pretty soon we'll have Heroes to throw on there, because we're not getting that either. Fuck. So yeah, that's Hyrule.
Let's move on before this will derail quick, then I'll start being like, and Yakuza, and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, let's just spend the entire rest of this episode bitching about games we're not getting localized.
I think we've done that before.
Because entitlement.
I think we've done that on Twitter, so that ground's been covered. If you want to look through our history on Twitter, we're on there.
Yeah, this is true. So, what have you been playing this week, then? I'll let you take a stab at it now.
Oh, God. Well, according to Steam, I've played 10,000 hours of every game under the sun. Yeah, or at least everything A through H, or whatever.
Okay, so if that's trading card harvesting, what have you been
No, I legitimately played To the Moon. Unfortunately, I didn't play enough of it to finish it, which is sad, because I think it's only a 4 or 5 hour game, but I am 3 hours in, so hopefully I can finish it the next time I sit down to do it.
Nice. And I want to go ahead and play through that as well, so on our next episode where we're talking about this stuff, we can both discuss it.
Yeah, I would, yeah. I think we have that planned out for a few things that are kind of worth talking about. To the Moon's a polarizing experience that we both kind of were it would be really nice to talk about this, but one of us should probably play it. or both. But that's the other thing I've been playing. I don't really want to talk about To the Moon until you've played it. So I'll just mention, hey, still playing it, and I will finish it this week, so hopefully maybe you can get around to it in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, because we haven't mentioned this yet, but we're going to be doing these alternating episode formats. 1 week is going to be what we've been consuming, playing, watching, reading, etc. And the next week will be a theme show, our favorite FPS or issues in JRPGs today or whatever, some theme like that, a topic. And we're going to keep alternating with that. So we actually have 2 more weeks to bring you guys some more opinions and impressions on things so it doesn't get too stale.
Exactly, and it makes it easier. It makes it easier because you're not forcing yourself to play something just to have something to talk about for the next week. You got 2 weeks to kind of play, watch, and do stuff naturally.
Exactly. So that's what he means by the 2 weeks. We've got some time to get some new experiences under our belts.
But the other one is something that I hope maybe one day we'll have in common, and that was I started up Steins, the visual novel.
Nice.
And I know we'll talk about the series later, but I'm the series is pretty close 1-for-1 so far of what I played of the visual novel. I'm only an hour and change into it, so that's not much, but there's a lot of shots that I'm seeing in the visual novel that, are pretty much 1-for-1 from shit I saw in the show. And, that's good and, I guess it's good and bad depending on what you're looking for. If you want comfort food and not, I don't know if fan service is the right word because does fan service go backwards, but, just a really safe, comfortable game and not really a ton of surprises. I hear there is quite a bit of difference in, some alternate endings and things you can get.
That's going to be the biggest thing is if you start getting some of those non-canon alternate endings, that's going to be brand new.
Right, but, so far no curveballs, but just like the show, the game doesn't start with the mindfuckery, so I know it'll get there. There's nothing really to say if you like Steins Gate or if you like visual novels. There's really no excuse because it's a damn good story, and you can't really fuck up a visual novel if you got a good story. So, and other than that, I think I played maybe an hour or 2 hours of Insurgency, and I really would like to play some more of that. But I've been watching so much stuff lately. And also, I'm a big movie geek. The Oscars are coming up, so I've been, watching through all this year's Oscar movies, and that takes up quite a bit of time.
Yeah, for sure. And I need to play Insurgency, too. I bought and downloaded that at your behest.
Let's do it, man. Let's do it. Let's get on some Insurgents. Let's kill some fucking insurgents.
We need to do that, because it sounds awesome, and I've got it, and it's installed, I'm ready to go. All
right, you just give me the word, man. I'm always down.
All right.
I will see. That's the thing. I'll bitch about carving out time unless, somebody's like, hey, you want to play a game that I know you want to play? And then I'm just like, all right, I'll drop whatever the fuck I'm doing because I've been waiting to play this. Same thing. Hey, Torchlight, let's do it. Or if anybody who happens to listen to this wants to play Magicka, fucking Solid Junk or not on Steam, hit me up.
Yeah, Magic is a damn good time. That game is hilarious and so much fun.
But so not a whole lot of game playing. I would like to change that, but I'll need some motivation from people.
Yeah, I see that. Well, I've played a few more things. Again, I've not played that many different titles. Just a lot of time into the ones I have played. A lot of time into Final Fantasy IX. Lot of time. I am at least 80 to 85% done with it at this point.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I just I say spoiler. The game is, 15 years old?
Yeah. Spoilers. You weren't born when this happened, but...
So I just got to Terra.
Okay, and?
Which
is the first time, right?
For the first time, yeah, we just went to Terra. We met the other girl with a tail. I mean, it's immediately apparent that Zidane is from Terra, so we'll see how that plays out and what the deal with that is.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I've been really enjoying it. It's my first time playing through it. I've enjoyed the story. I've enjoyed the characters quite a bit. Vivi, in particular, is, I think, the most compelling character.
Yeah.
Not only
I think he sold the most plushes from that game as well.
Yeah, not only is he just fun and quirky, but like what he's dealing with, knowing that he was made as a soulless golem and that he has a finite lifespan that's going to run out at some point, and dealing with those same feelings with all of his other brothers and sisters that were mass-produced afterwards, and some of them have souls, others don't, and they betray your party here and there because they've been lied to and told that they can find a way to extend their life if they do. It's just, out of everything, I think he's been by far the most compelling. Honestly, the only thing character-wise that I don't like is Zidane's art style. Like, I'm not huge on the art style of the game. I hate the way Zidane looks. His face, his hair, absolutely despise his character design. But I like him as a character, so I just wish he looked different.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm a fan of the way he looks, but I didn't think it was like bad, or it wasn't off-putting to me. It just wasn't, just kind of meh,
Yeah, the whole game has a very...
I would have said Quina, like, is a character that I don't like. Like, I don't really like Quina.
Yeah, does anybody though? I mean...
Yeah, I don't know.
I love that the game actually puts H//SE when SHE when talking. Like, they don't know if it's a male or a female. Throughout the whole game, they call it a he/she. Which is kind of fantastic.
I might be wrong, but I think you find out it's just a fat bitch like you always expected.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I also like Queen's music. When you're doing the frog catching and during the scenes, it's very cheeky and quirky.
Yeah. And, hey, sometimes the blue magic stuff can be useful.
Yeah, I like that there's
a few spells that are really useful.
Quina has a ton of good stuff, but I like that there's only one blue mage, as opposed to the job-based Final Fantasy games where... You're trying to everybody, and God, that's just bothersome.
See, but I don't think that's the thing. I don't think everybody plays the games like that. I know I do, and I know you do, and we make it worse for ourselves. We play it like it's Final Fantasy Tactics, like
we totally do. But that's how I do things. I'm a completionist. I can't help it, so that becomes extremely irritating. But with one character, it's really manageable, and it's fun to collect the blue magic. But I've enjoyed the side content. I like having a world map. Thankfully, it's from back in the days when we still had those. Running around on the chocobos has been fun. I like that in this game you get ability points, and you learn all of your skills from your weapons and equipment. I really, really like it when games do that. Another game that did that is Tales of Vesperia, and I fucking loved that. So any JRPG that does that, I love that system. So I'm really on board with that. And I have some complaints, too. I mean, I'm not just going to gush over it. The pre-drawn backgrounds make it really hard to figure out where you can go and where you can't go. And unfortunately, they decided to hide most of the treasure and, environmental objects in random off-the-wall places where, you're behind this random thing and you hit X and you just magically find something. I don't like that. It feels less like a treasure hunt and more like you're just wandering around pressing X and getting lucky, as opposed to something like a Tales or a Dragon Quest where, it's a predefined treasure chest, or you check this cupboard in this house. With those, you feel like you're hunting for treasure. With Final Fantasy IX, you feel like you're just poking around in the dark.
Yeah, well, a lot of games, some of them still do it, but I remember a lot of games being like that, and it almost felt like, okay, so this is how you sell a strategy guide, so that I don't have to spend an hour in each area clicking everything. I know exactly where to go and what I want.
Yeah, I don't like that style of design, and it's exacerbated by being on PS1, so the, really iffy, is this foreground, is this background, can I walk there, what the fuck is that? That makes it hard, and also, for having an quote-unquote active time battle system, my god, it's slow. In Final Fantasy VII, when you choose a command, you do it. When the enemy chooses a command, you do it. It's quick, it's snappy, like it's fast-paced, which is the point of the ATB system. In this, when you choose a command, I will oftentimes have all 4 members of my party queued up with commands, just sitting there waiting, twiddling my thumbs, while one of them maybe goes, and then the enemy goes, and like it's so slow and takes forever to do things that having it active basically doesn't matter, because you're just...
Well, like, is there a way to estimate how long what's going to take, or how long certain things are going to take to execute, or...
I mean, you just get used to remembering, but since the entire... from the time that the game decides to initiate a command when somebody's doing it, all the way up through them doing it, the gauge for everybody else is still growing during that time. So, like, if the boss does one big move, everybody can have an attack or a command queued up in that time. And then one person goes, and the rest of them are still just sitting there with their...
Well, that's what I was wondering. I'm wondering if, like, behind the scenes, it's invisibly like Child of Light. Like, you know, when you attack an enemy, if they're queued up, will it, like, knock them back? Or
make no, there's absolutely no bearing on that. It's just that each command...
I haven't played that game since it came out, and I have such good memories about it, but they're not very in-depth, and I just don't want to replay it again, because you've kind of... What you've told me of your first experience on it now has made me not want to have a second or a third experience, actually. But
yeah, and honestly, you've already played it enough. Don't ruin it. Leave it alone. But yeah, it's really, really slow.
Well, yeah, but I know. But part of me wants to just beat Mario through that game.
Our previous co-host on the Couchcast, we got him to start playing Final Fantasy IX, and the joke was that we were all going to beat it before him. And well, yeah.
I don't know. He might be playing it right now.
No, he's not. So, yeah, I mean, overall, I'm enjoying it, but, you know, issues from the time and just having such a slow fucking system for the battle system. It's still a really good game, though, and definitely among my favorite Final Fantasies, without a doubt.
Will you say it's better than 7?
I like it a lot more than 7, except the battle system.
So it's the best one on PS1. You'll agree with that, at least. Because I know you hate 8.
Yeah, I hated 8. Nothing against 8's story. I never got far enough. The gameplay systems of 8 I can't stand, so I didn't finish it.
Yeah, well, we'll disagree on that.
And that's fine. That's totally subjective. I will never say that 8 has bad gameplay systems. That's not an objective thing. I personally don't like them at all.
Yeah, well, I'm not even gonna try to defend 8 because it's been so long, and it's just. I mean, you know what? Yeah, even any valid points I make, they can all just be boiled down to like, it's nostalgia.
Yeah, it probably is. Yeah, but other than that, I've also been playing Freedom Wars. Are you familiar with that at all?
Not at all. Well, no, not Freedom Wars.
Okay, so it's a hunting game, which and this is goofy, I really like hunting games. Soul Sacrifice was brilliant. Ragnarok Odyssey was amazing. I've got Tokiden, but I don't like Monster Hunter. Like, the quintessential genre starter, I don't like. I just like all of the other games that are like it. I myself don't understand. Monster Hunter just feels too clunky to me, and the other ones don't. That's ultimately what it comes down to. But,
I've never played any of those, but I've always watched them. And while I'm watching them, I go like, I wouldn't have as much fun if I played this. like, because I'd have to fast forward through Monster Hunter in particular. Very, very slow, and then you get like 5 minutes of excitement.
Yeah, Monster Hunter's a little bit too slow for me. What I really like about them is they're based fully in the old school game design of learn your enemy's patterns. Because you can't brute force your way through. Some of the games you don't even level up, others you do. Oftentimes it's all based on equipment, but eventually you're going to hit a point where shit's just really fucking hard. And if you aren't good at the game, you're not getting anywhere in it. So
right.
You have to learn all of these giant bosses' patterns, where to dodge, where to block, where to hit, and that's really, really compelling because while your character is getting better, you are really the one that's getting the experience and getting better as a player, and that's awesome. That's why we enjoy games like Mega Man or a fighting game. Like, you yourself are improving, and that's really fun. So I like those aspects of those games. And Freedom Wars is one that's actually, I don't know if it's developed by Sony, but it's published by them at least. It's a first-party game, exclusive to the Vita. It's got this cel-shaded look. It takes place in a post-apocalyptic world where, like, all of the people that are still alive live in these enclosed cities that kind of war with each other for resources and superiority. And there's a very, very distinct line between citizens and sinners. Citizens actually, like, contribute to society in some way. Sinners don't. And if you're found guilty of being a sinner, you have to you're a fighter, essentially. You have to go out and rescue citizens, gather resources, defend the Panopticon, which is your city. and you get you have a sentence, essentially, of X amount of years, and when you do missions, you work that off. Well, the game starts off with you being like a really high-level sinner in this really good group, and then something happens to you, and you lose all your memory, and it's not the first time it's happened. And because your memory is all of your experiences that they've spent resources training you to have, your sentence is up to like 1 million years for doing that, for wasting this valuable resource.
Wow. So it sounds like the perfect setting for an anime.
It's pretty fucking awesome. And I can't remember what it's called, but there's rights that you have to buy. And as you get farther in, you gain the ability to buy more of them with these points. So when it starts off, you can't take more than 5 steps in your cell, or that's a violation. You get 10 more years added. You can't lie down when you go to sleep. You have to sit up. There's like all sorts of things that you're just not allowed to do, and you have to buy the rights back. And eventually you can buy the rights to run. You can buy the rights to leave your cell, to go to other areas, to talk to people. Like, you have to buy all of these rights back.
Holy shit. Now, is this a free-to-play?
Nah.
Okay, good. Now, what's the online like?
The online is standard fare for a hunting game. You know, play with up to 4 other people and take on missions together.
Okay.
There's 3 different types of classes you can be, basically. You can be a shield, a healer, or a more attack-based, like, because you have this thorn thing on your arm. It's one of the like special mechanics of the game. You can use that to heal, you can use that as a shield, or you can use that to hurt and bring down and hold enemies. And on top of that, there's a bunch of different types of weapons. This game is a little bit different from most other hunting games in that since it is futuristic, even if it is post-apocalyptic, there are melee-based weapons and there's guns too, which is really cool because these games don't normally have guns. So if you want to do snipers, SMGs, assault rifles, you can. Or you can do big swords or giant spears. Like, it has a really good variety of weapons. Tons of upgrade and customizability for how you look, your abilities, your weapons. Like, these games always have just a fuck ton of content, and I'm enjoying it so far. It's a cool game, and I like these games, and this one's working really well for me. It's also got this great cel-shaded look to it. But we did not get a dub. It's sub-only. And while the main characters and the main scenarios are translated just fine, oh my god, the side content, what the fuck were they thinking? It's like they typed it into Google Translate.
Is it download only as well?
Nope, I have the cart.
See, that it sounds like it would be, with you telling me, you know, sub-only, horrible translation.
The main
Why would
story...
they bother printing physical copies if it's only on Vita? You know what I mean? It just seemed...
Yeah, the main story is totally fine, but a lot of the side content and side people that you talk to, my god, it's translated horribly. The first couple of characters, I was just thinking, oh, maybe they're just supposed to be, you know, like awkward foreigners, but no, it's just translated really bad. But
yeah, I pulled up a couple screenshots where you're talking, dude. Some of these look pretty fucking badass, dude. And some of these guns look insane.
I'm really liking it. If you dig hunting games, my god, give this one a go. And I'm actually playing it on the PlayStation Vita TV, not on the Vita itself.
Ooh, sexy.
Yeah, so I'm playing it with a PlayStation 4 controller synced up wirelessly on my 50-inch TV. And you know what? This game looks really good on a TV. Like, obviously, it's still a Vita game, but it made the jump really, really well. So that's an awesome way to play it. The Vita TV in general is just really cool. Like, a way to play a lot of Vita games on the TV with a controller is badass.
Now, what about PSP games?
Any PSP game that is supported by the Vita, because they're not all, and not only are they not all supported, but not nearly all of the PSP games are available on PSN, but any that you have on PSN that are supported by the Vita, you can play on the PlayStation Vita TV with these controllers. So that is a way to get PSP games onto the TV, but honestly... As much as that's cool,
they look like shit.
They don't look great, but it's cool to be able to play them on there with a controller. Just play them on the PSP emulator. You'll make them look way better, and you can use a controller anyway. And then if you, like, I have a huge PSP library, and I only have a few digitally that I've had to re-buy. I could just download, well, I guess I can't rip, but I could download an ISO for a game I already have, play it on the PSP emulator with a controller, and just upgrade the graphics. Like, so, as much as that is cool, just use the emulator.
Yeah. That's true.
But
god damn it. It's still... like, you can't use a PSP as a controller, you know? You have to use a PS2 controller, so...
You're better off anyway. I mean, the PSP and Vita, like, they're great for handhelds, but any game on those is going to play better on a PS4 controller anyway, so...
Is that all you've been playing, really?
Yeah, just those 3 games. Final Fantasy IX's 50-some-odd hours. Hyrule Warriors in the past few days, I put probably 10. And Freedom Wars, I'm still not very far into.
Oh, okay. Because I seem to remember you putting like fucking 300 hours into another Final Fantasy game.
Yeah, I'm trying to wean myself off that.
Don't bring up the drugs.
Yeah, so within the past couple of weeks, I put 50 or so hours a week into Realm Reborn, Final Fantasy XIV. That's my MMO of choice. That's my drug of choice. But it's a really contradictory experience for me because I love the game. I love going through the content and like playing a high-level trial or dungeon or pretty much any of the level 50 post-game content. I'm a tank. So there's so much riding on me. It's so engaging. You don't get that experience anywhere else, and I love it. At the same time, redoing missions to get the stuff, to buy the stuff, to redo your daily, to redo this and hope you get a drop, like... That is so fucking gross to me. So it's this big ball of contradiction where I love half of the game and I hate the other half of it.
I always want to get into it, but this is why I like I guess not Let's Plays, but gameplay videos and shit is for MMOs, because there's a lot of interesting content and stuff I'd like to witness, but I just can't be bothered to invest into the time sink ever again, really.
Yeah, and one thing Realm Reborn really has going for it, it's got a really good story. They started adding voice acting at a point. That's pretty good. The music's really good. Like, all of that presentation type stuff is really good in it. If you like MMOs, especially WoW-style MMOs, Realm Reborn kicks fucking ass. MMOs are not conscientious of your time. And between work and the fact that I was a full-time student and because I'm trying to get into medical school, I couldn't skate by. Like, I had to get A's and everything, so that took a lot of extra time to put that much effort into it. I know that I'll be getting into medical school at some point, so I'm on a timer for that. When I do get in, I'll have very little time. Just all of this stuff has always made me be very, very stingy with what I spend my free time on. So while I will play Realm Reborn here and there, I won't fully immerse myself in it and just play it forever because I want to have new experiences. You know, I wanted to play Final Fantasy IX. I want to play Hyrule Warriors. There's other RPGs I've got queued up waiting to play. Like,
right, your time is precious because in a few years you're just going to be staring at games, never actually having time to interact with them.
Yeah, and I actually have more time now than I've had for many years because I'm on the in-between from when I was doing my bachelor's degree to getting into med school. And even still, I know that that's limited, and I need to try and play and watch and experience as many things as I can. Like,
right.
So that's my take on all that stuff. That's why I don't really replay things. I don't really rewatch or reread things because you're never, like, you could have the best experience playing or watching something, and it could be your favorite thing. You're not going to get that same experience when you play or watch it again. Even though you're playing or watching the same thing, you're not getting the same experience. So go out and find something else that's really good and experience that.
I will have to remind you of this conversation a month from now when you're playing Final Fantasy XIV again.
Yeah, well, at least with that, since I wait, 3 months at a time, a bunch of new content comes out, and this is what I do with MMOs. There's always a certain tier of currency that you need to get the best content and to get drops. But when new content comes out, they need to make it easier for you to catch up and do the new stuff. So what used to be the best currency is bumped down, and a new one is introduced. So they just basically give away what used to be impossible to get. Drop rates are increased. Drops are added. If you play through the game, like you play a month every 3 to 4 months, you're going to blow through content and get gear 5 times faster than the people that are on the bleeding edge doing it. So I'm getting to experience the new content and get the new gear in, a quarter of the time as the people that are playing it nonstop. So I'm cheating.
Yeah, and they feel cheated. And they hear you talk about it.
Works for me,
Yeah, fuck them. Fuck those nerds who just play WoW all day. We can say that. They wouldn't take the time to listen to this.
No, they're too busy playing WoW.
Oh, listen to the fucking little clickety-clop.
Yeah,
I love that. I love the old school keyboard, man. I have to dig mine out just so I can clickety-clock with you.
Which is funny, because it's, it's a new, expensive keyboard, but it's mechanical, so it sounds like that.
Oh, is it? Yeah, I just imagine, like, the old white ones, fucking Windows 95.
Actually, a lot of those older keyboards were mechanical, not membranous, so, like, the base technology for our high-grade gaming keyboards actually is rooted in old technology.
Oh, yeah, they knew where it was at. Okay, if it works for fucking Doom 2, it's good for everything forever.
That's a rule to live by.
Yeah, I like old shit, dude. And that's why
old ladies.
Not old ladies.
Dry as the Sahara Desert, and it shaves when you rub on it.
Not old ladies, not old men. I don't like lemon parties. No old. Okay, I don't like old shit. I like classic shit, like 80s shit. Like I can't ever say this right. Planetus.
I've never heard it pronounced. It looks like planetes to me, but what the fuck?
It's Greek. I mean, I know that. But it looks like I think this show may have come to America in 2006, but it sent me on a roller coaster of like 90s and 80s animation. That I end up watching a lot more of that just because Planetes, which I guess I should probably explain because it's really fucking obscure and we can't even pronounce it right, so nobody knows what the fuck I'm talking about. Yeah. It's an anime about basically space garbage men. They're debris haulers. You know, and I'm gonna like sound like a fucking self-righteous dick or something, but like if you know anything about space, you know that
because we fucking know about space.
We know all about space. I've been on so many message boards. I've watched a bunch of movies. I'm pretty good, but you know, little pieces of debris, you know, moving, I don't know, fucking 8 kilometers a second and shit. A little fucking piece of debris hitting a spaceship would actually fuck it up. You know what I mean? Like, little piece of debris can cause big, big problems for satellites and all types of things in space. You know, the Earth's immediate orbit, you know?
Yeah.
And so this is, I think it's like 2070 something, and it kind of follows the lives of a couple quote-unquote veteran space haulers, which I guess, like, to be a veteran space hauler means you've hauled for, like, a year or two. It's pretty dangerous, and there's not a ton of them left. And a new recruit. And it's just a really, really authentic to space, like how it acts. You know, it's not like when there's big explosion, you're not hearing the sound. Like, shit like that. Like, Gravity was authentic. And how it dealt with
just the look
how brutal space is.
Just the look of Planetes reminds me of a tone like Gravity as far as like how they're trying to portray space.
Yeah, it's like a super authentic portrayal of space. Like, you know, hey, you're out there for 20 years. Guess what? You're probably just going to die of cancer because you're constantly being heavily radiated.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Like, you know, it's not like, let's see, you know, Total Recall. Like, if your fucking helmet breaks off in space, like, that's not what happens. You don't, like, suffocate, like, like, your fucking, all the moisture in your body immediately boils off. Like, your fucking tongue boils dry. Your eyeballs boil out of your fucking skull. Like, shit is nasty, dude. Space is fucking cruel bitch.
Incredibly unpleasant.
Yeah, and, you know, so this show doesn't take, like, the childhood fantastical look at space. Like, you know, everything's beautiful and look how awesome space would be. It's showing you, like, yeah, hey, it's cool, but it's, like, the most dangerous, nastiest thing that we can ever, you know, imagine.
It's a natural force, and it's dangerous as fuck, yeah.
Yeah, and it's, I mean, I don't know, it's just like the whole show, and while it's not, like, brutally violent, especially, I mean, you know, it has moments of things, I can't really say that it's one thing or another. It's just a really true portrayal of space, and it focuses on, for the most part, really believable characters, and I think like the time span is like 8 years. I think like the time span is something like just 8 years in the life of these people.
Oh wow, okay.
In space, and I mean, obviously, it takes a pretty big leap. So to cover 8 years, I think there's like a 6-year leap at some point. So, but
right.
But it's fucking really, really cool, man. If you're looking for an anime that's different, you know. I've never seen anything like that. Not that I'm an expert and I've seen everything, but never seen anything like this. And it was so unique and so well done that instantly became a classic for me. I think, you know, I would have to give it a 9 or a 10. I hate doing the ratings thing, but it makes it easy.
Sure.
But yeah, that's one that I wanted to make sure I mentioned and didn't forget, because I know we had talked the other day and that totally slipped my mind, but really, really, really good show. Recommend it to everybody. Unfortunately, if you want to get a copy, it's going to be like $80 on eBay.
Yeah, and that's if you can even find... I actually just let a $75 mint one slip through my fingers, which I'm pissed at myself about.
Yeah, so...
It's for those that are actually up on like how anime is released and licenses. It was Bandai. It got a complete collection from them, and Bandai is tits up in the U.S. And as far as I'm aware, no one rescued the license, so that's permanent U.S. limbo.
Which, I mean, yeah, that's really sucks. But you mean maybe they'll do like a Blu-ray in another region that you could import?
Yeah, which would only cost $400, so no big deal.
Well, only if it's the Japanese one. But I'm saying, like, if the UK license and stuff.
Oh, true. Yeah, no, that's true. Manga may pick that up someday, possibly.
It's a great, really well-loved one. I'm surprised nobody grabbed that.
Yeah, I am too, honestly. It really makes you wonder how they make these decisions.
Yeah. Or maybe it was even more complicated than we know. I mean, it could be that, but... And if you're tech savvy enough to find this episode of Super Limita Breaku, I'm sure you can find a nice set with every episode of that show floating around somewhere out there on the interwebs.
Yeah, at the very least, you can torrent it if you just want to watch it. Because...
Hey, that's what I was saying.
Oh, and
ultimately... I was trying to be subtle.
Okay, I'll shut up. I'm sorry. Ultimately, though, Bandai's tits up. You can't buy a new copy. You're buying it from a seller anyway. So this is one of those instances where, morally, I think pirating is totally fine because Bandai is not getting your money. There is no possible way to give Bandai or the studio that made it your money. You can't anymore. So why give some fuck on eBay $80 for it unless you just want to own it in your collection?
Which you totally should, even if you do pirate it. Always be on the lookout. Just don't compete with me.
Or me.
Or Logan. Well, now, fuck. Okay, this episode isn't coming out now. We gotta
wait till we get our own.
Oh, man. But, what have you been watching that's pretty good?
Well,
I want to hear about the shit.
You and I got something that we watched, that we both watched, and we both would have sex with if it was a real thing. But
I would try it. Like, I'd have to do it soft, though. I could probably fit it in one of the Blu-ray holes.
Yeah, but I'm not going to talk about that just yet. I'll talk about what I've watched that you haven't. I actually finished it last night. Shaun Sins. Have you heard of it?
No, never. Shaun?
Yeah, so Shaun Sins is a reboot of the classic Shaun franchise, which has had an anime series, games. It's a multimedia franchise owned by Tatsunoko. The most recent thing that we've seen Shaun in was Tatsunoko versus Capcom, that 2D fighting game from Capcom. But Shaun is a classic character, and he's actually the basis for Mega Man.
Really?
Yep, because he is a super fighting robot, Mega Man. No, sorry. Do you remember the opening to the old Mega Man show? That's what that's from. I'm sorry.
Okay, no, I only remember Mega Man Wish Upon a Star.
No, it was the horrible, horrible TV show. The intro was, he's a super fighting robot, da-da-da, Mega Man. It's fucking horrible.
This is like as bad as the Sonic ones, which were amazing.
Yeah, so anyway, Shaun was the original basis for Mega Man. He had a dog called Frinder, the basis for Rush. Like, the whole thing is, Mega Man's the original series was ripped from Shaun.
Inafune's full of shit.
Yeah, okay, sure.
It just made me think of Dumb and Dumber when they're driving on a highway and there's no mountains around. He's like, John Denver's full of shit. The Rocky Mountains. John Denver's full of shit, man.
There you go. So
okay.
It's based in a post-apocalyptic world where Shaun killed the source of life for the world and caused the ruin to spread. So the atmosphere became poisonous. The robots and the humans were already warring, so most of the humans are killed out because of that, and the world just being hard to live in. And now the robots are rusting, and they can't stop it, so they're no longer immortal. They rust, they die, you can't make it stop, and the whole world is just this, like...
They can't replace their parts.
They can't make new ones anymore. The humans are gone. They don't have the means to fix themselves anymore. The whole world is just a rusty wasteland of chaos and ruin. It does sound really cool for that, but... So it starts off with Shaun waking back up like 200 years after he killed Luna, and complete amnesia. He's a very different person, because when he killed her and that happened, like, everything that he was lost, basically. So he's learning about the world, learning about himself, and he's essentially a completely different person now. But when he killed her, he became immortal. So that's the basis for it, because the word on the word in the wasteland is that if you kill and consume Shaun, your rune will go away and you will become immortal. So, like, every robot in existence is, like, out to kill him when they see him. Even ones that seem nice, when they learn who he is, they all go crazy and try to kill him. And it's just him journeying through the wasteland, seeing people from his past and trying to figure out who they are again, learning about the world, learning about the state of it, and trying to find some way to stop the rune. In theory, it sounds really good, but they do a really shitty job of explaining things, like a really fucking shitty job, to the point that it bothered me throughout and really pissed me off at the end. Some of the robots bleed. Why? They're robots. Why do they bleed?
It might be oil.
No, it's legitimate blood. Some of them grow older. What the fuck? How are they growing older? They're robots. Like,
are they robots or are they cyborgs?
There's some things that show that maybe some of them used to be human, but they were converted to robots. Like, they do a really, really, really shitty job of establishing what they are. And coming from someone that loves transhumanism and cyberpunk, that's what I want from a show that is all about this. If it didn't have to be about that, it could be where they're just robots. That's fine. I wouldn't be angry. I would have no problems. But they're not just robots. Like, there's all this goofy crossover where there is some other shit going on here, and they don't explain it at all. Not even a little bit. At the end of the series, I'm just going to spoil it, because at the end of this, I'm not going to recommend people to watch it, so I'm going to spoil it. A couple of the main characters die, and it's actually, like, really sad. And they had the ability to get the rune fixed on them from Luna's reincarnation.
I'm downloading this right now.
And they don't, so they just die. And, like, it's a sad scene, and it's impactful, but they didn't need to die. Like, they just chose that because they're stupid. Or Luna apparently can fix the rune now, but then in some characters, when she does, it doesn't work. Not explained at all. Can she actually fix it? Because multiple times they say she can, but then when you see it in practice, she doesn't. What the fuck? Or the rune goes away at the end of it. Somewhat, kind of, like they kind of explain it and don't give you anything else to go on. Nothing is explained well, from how the robots are they connected to humans, why do some age, why do some bleed, what happened with the rune, why are some people saved and others aren't. Nothing is explained. Like, you leave the show just frustrated at how little you understand it. It's over.
Sounds like a metaphor for life, man. Sounds fucking amazing.
Yet, at the same time, there were some episodes that were really impactful, like because he just wanders around, he happens upon this city and this group of people. And while there is an overarching story, a lot of the episodes are one or two off just that little contained story. And some of those are done really, really well. They're usually rather melancholic because it's a decaying world where everybody's slowly dying, and oftentimes they end with the character from that one dead, or, rusting right at the end. But some of those were done really well. Very sad and very impactful. So the show has its high points. There's no doubt.
Yeah, I gotta say, I like the visuals. I'm looking at a bunch of, screenshots or whatever.
The art style is super unique, the way everything looks, and everybody has this really wiry, thin look to them. In the fights, especially with Cashern and the other few robots that are similar to him, because one of the characters created 3, like, incredibly powerful robots that actually have the ability to make life. Like, they have DNA in them and everything. And Cashern is one of those. When they fight, they're really wiry, and they do all these twirls, and their limbs are flying everywhere, and it looks really, really cool. Like, the fight scenes, I've not seen scenes that look like that in anything else for the style and the way they do it. It has its high points, like, there's no doubt about that, but it just does such a poor job of explaining things and has such a frustrating ending that I can't, in good conscience, recommend it unless the premise just sounds amazing to you. I'm going to keep it. I didn't hate it so much, so I'm going to sell it, but I would give it a B- or C+ at best.
You know what? I think it's only 24 episodes. I might give it a shot just from looking at it, and like, even though I probably won't love it, it looks interesting enough that like I want to give it like 5 episodes shot.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's really hard because I liked it and I also hated things about it. For you, though, I would say, I gave you that list of, like, absolute incredible things last night. Fuck, watch those first.
Yeah. No, that's my other thing is I just fill up backlogs of everything. You know what I mean? Like, if my internet were to go out tomorrow for 3 years, I'd still be watching shit, so...
Yeah, for sure.
When I say I'm adding it to the list, doesn't mean that I'm going to bump it ahead of anything.
Yeah, but so that was Cashern, a really, really mixed bag that left me in loving the crap out of some episodes and just a little bit frustrated. When I turned it off and put the final disc back in the case, I was like, really, I went to bed frustrated at the ending and after having watched the whole thing.
Well, dude, I pulled up like the DVD cover art for the original Cashern and 70s anime series.
Yeah.
Holy shit, dude. That's Mega Man. I mean, Inafune stole all that, especially when you think of Proto Man being the original Mega Man design. It's just like, oh, let's color this red, and that's that red, and okay, there we go.
Not to mention that Casher, I said that guy created 3 robots like him. 2 were male, and 1 was female, because they were made to be able to recreate, even though they can procreate, even though they're robots. Yeah, throughout this whole thing, Casher has like a rivalry, hatred, fight to the death thing going on with Dio, his brother. So yeah, Mega Man and Proto Man, there they are.
That's awesome. Maybe I'll check out the old 70s. I'm sure there's a couple episodes on YouTube you can watch.
Yeah, I might get that at some point just to check it out. Apparently, even though this is a reboot, if aside from a few plot holes, the ending of this could lead into the original series if you wanted it to.
Really?
Yeah. So while it's not meant to be that way, I guess it's not officially that way, at least. I guess the way that this ends, I'm not very familiar with the story of the original series, but the way that this ends, ignoring a couple of plot holes, it could easily lead right back into the original series.
There you go, all the Casher fans that we're going to breed from this episode. You're going to turn this into the most famous anime of 2015.
No, it's much older than that. It's got a save Blu-ray set now. I have the original, like, DVD and Blu-ray, big, normal release, but you can get the Blu-ray save set for, like, $15. Just pennies.
Oh, nice.
Yep, so...
Maybe I won't torrent it. Maybe I'll actually buy something.
Maybe. Yeah, it's not horrible. I don't know. The more I talk about it and think about it, I remember all the good parts that I really liked, and then I think back to the parts I didn't. It's so mixed.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm surprised because we've talked a couple times about anime in the last week or so, and you've never brought it up. So
I was waiting until I finished it.
That's probably a good call. But I don't need to wait until I finish certain things to know that they're just fucking dog shit. And the next thing I want to bring up, I wanted to be positive in the beginning, so I was hoping you would have something positive, which it kind of ended up being.
Yeah, it was half positive. It's not. I didn't just shit on it.
Okay, well, it was positive enough that I can turn around and just completely shit on this show that I know a lot of people love. And I tried, man, I fucking tried to love Clannad. Clannad, why do you suck so bad? Why is it the most boring, dullest, dumbest show with the worst characters ever?
Well, I'm looking at the front cover right now, and I see 5 Moe girls. Why did you think you would like this?
Well, I'll tell you fucking why I thought I would like it. First of all, I don't know what the fuck Moe is. I'm not that cool. And second,
cutesy, big guys, innocent, blushy.
Oh yeah, well I should have known it, like, because I fucking hate that stuff.
You watch Devil as a Part-Timer, right?
Yes.
The girl that he works with is a Moe character.
Yes. Okay, she's my least favorite of the show. The one you just can't. You want him to not save? Like, let that bitch die? That one? Okay, that's probably why I didn't like this show. Aside from nothing happening, the quote-unquote character development, which I can say because I checked some forums after like 11 episodes in, going like, hey, when does this show get good? Everybody says it's... That's why I watched it, because everybody says it's amazing. It's like rated one of the best anime, blah, blah, blah. So I figured I'd give it a shot. But I got on the forum about 11 episodes in going like, why do people love this? And when is it going to be sweet? Well, everybody's like, hey, if you're past 6 episodes in, and it just gets worse after the first 6 episodes, they're the best, ever, blah, blah. If you don't like it by now, you just don't get the show. So I just don't fucking get the show. Because even like the revelations that do come to these characters and the turning points are so fucking stupid. You just want to smack all these people. So Clannad's not for me, even though there were a bunch of people that felt similarly to how I do, that all said, but Clannad Aftermath turned it all around for me. I don't think I'll ever get that far and give it a chance.
You don't care enough to go that far. Yeah.
I can't even force myself to care enough. And normally, 11 episodes into a 24-episode season, I would just finish it, but I can't do it. I cannot do it with Clannad, man.
Damn.
So if you like Clannad, you're fucking stupid. This is because it doesn't matter who you are or what you like. I can never understand how somebody could like this. This is like, people who like, oh, I love Honey Boo Boo and shit. at least even with that, like, if you like it just to look at how fucking terrible people are, that's more understandable than liking Clannad. There's nothing mildly enjoyable in the show.
Damn. All right, well, you hate that. That's all there is to it.
Yeah. I must like it a little bit, or else I'd just be completely apathetic. But no, I I have to make sure that everybody knows how much I hate it and to never watch the show.
Well, fair enough, then. That is that.
So, yeah, bring the mood back up. What do you got that's amazing?
Well, I've only watched one other anime series, because, these things take time. But I'm pretty sure it's one that you've watched as well. Am I wrong?
I think so, and I'm pretty sure it's also amazing. So this fits the criteria.
Yeah, so we both... I watched half of Steins Gate, because I was watching it with a friend, and loved what I had seen. So I told Sean, hey, you need to go check this out, and this son of a bitch marathoned it in like 2 days.
Yes. Yeah, it was it was scary 2 days too, because I meant to go to sleep the first night because I had to work the next day. And then I looked up and realized I was like 3 hours away from having to go to work. So you don't go to sleep at that point, right? You got to power through, or else you're going to sleep through the alarm.
Yeah, there's just no point then.
Can't do it. It's impossible. So what you do is you watch like 12 or 13 or 14 episodes of a show all night, and you go to work and you maybe lie and say you have a dentist appointment and leave about an hour and a half early.
To go watch more.
And come straight home and watch the rest of the show that day. So, yeah, Steins Gate was a 2-day ordeal for me. I know it took you about 2 weeks, right?
Yeah, but it was only 3 sittings for me.
Yeah, I couldn't help myself. I think it's my favorite anime ever, dude. Like, it's hard for me to say it, but it's hard for me not to say it.
I have a very, very tight list of my favorite shows of all time. There's a lot of shows that I really liked. That doesn't mean they're on the list. I have like a 4 or 5 series list of my absolute favorites of all time. Not only did Steins Gate bust the fuck into that list with a spiked baseball bat and get everyone else out of the way, I think it's sitting at the top of it now.
It's really hard to not say it's your favorite, because the more you think about it, the more you like it, and the more you go like, oh wow, that was really smart, or they did it really different than I'm used to seeing things.
Steins Gate is hilarious. It is incredibly emotionally impactful. It is complicated, and in a good way, not just it's very convoluted, but in an intelligently convoluted way. The voice acting for the Japanese that I've seen is brilliant. The voice acting for American is probably the best dub I've ever heard. Mm-hmm. The English dub is incredible. The main character is the guy who played Sebastian Michaelis from Black Butler. So anybody that's seen that, I thought that was his best performance. No, this is.
Don't play games. I know you're watching. That's right, freak. It behooves you nothing to ignore me. Take a good look. Quaff deeply from the trough of future shock. Allow that woolly brain to be stricken with envy. You are speaking to member 001, lab founder, evil genius, and mad scientist extraordinaire. 'Tis I, Hoin Kyoma.
I still think that Ocarine sounds way cuter.
Silence! My nom de plume is for special missions only. The girl is known as 002, my assistant, cosplayer, and resident female, Sheena Mayuri.
I prefer Mayushi.
Next up, I give you Hashida Itaru. Hack, member 003.
It's hacker. The way you say it makes no sense.
These are the members.
So Steins Gate starts off as a comedy, and it's a very effective comedy, like one of the funniest shows I've seen. But it's a comedy about time travel. And it quickly transitions into an extremely serious show about time travel with trying to prevent people's deaths, very near mental breakdowns and full mental breakdowns for some of the characters, complicated interweaving storylines through different threads of time in a multiverse-type take on time travel. And then there's even some romance thrown in right towards the end there. It's
that
incredible.
Didn't feel forced either. That's the other thing I liked about, you had mentioned it's very emotional. Unlike a lot of shows, even shows that I like, it feels like there's a lot of things that are really, really forced because, like, those are just things that all animes have to have, or, maybe they didn't know how to localize it properly. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But a lot of forced emotions and things that don't feel genuine, and you're kind of just going through the motions. I didn't feel like this show had any of that. I felt like everything that happened was very, very natural, and everything that was heartfelt deserved to be. It was never cheesy. They never reached for anything.
Yeah, most definitely. It all felt very genuine, and they sold it to you very, very easily. And the vocal cast, the vocal performance.
That helps a lot.
That was a big part of that, because there were some parts that were teetering on melodrama for really good reasons. Like, some horrible, heavy shit had been happening, but they were very melodramatic, even though, again, I think it was called for. But they didn't come off feeling corny or forced. They were just believable. You ate it up immediately without any questions.
And as complicated as it does become, I think everything ties up very nicely, and it's not, the ending isn't dissatisfying like you're saying, like with Cashin, where it's like, there's a lot of things it doesn't answer, and this is bullshit. I really didn't feel that way. I felt very, very happy with the conclusion of the show.
Yeah,
the payoff is worth it.
I watched it with a buddy, and we were pausing it all the time and trying to discuss things and figure shit out. We walked away from the ending, like, very satisfied, very happy.
Yeah, see, that's an experience that I want to have. Unfortunately, most of my IRL friends aren't big anime people. So it's going to be a chore to get somebody to fucking watch this show with me. But I think it'll be worth their time, and definitely worth my time to watch it again and actively discuss it instead of, like, hours later, days later, talking about stuff.
Yeah, thankfully one of my two best friends in person is big into video games. He helped me build my gaming PC. His is just like mine. He loves anime. He spent like $3,000 like I did over Black Friday on it. Like, so that really helps. We have completely identical interests.
Yeah, so that's really good, especially for like a show like this. It helps more than others because like some shows are just complicated just for the sake of being complicated, and this I feel like is complicated because it needs to be to tell this story and to tell it this well.
There's so many interweaving threads to it that it's not like Shaun is saying. It's not complicated just so it can be. It's complicated because so many completely separate yet intertwined things have to play on each other, and a lot of what he spends the earlier parts of the show doing come back in the later parts of the show in reverse as relevant again. I'm trying to be vague enough not to spoil it.
Because you don't want to spoil this show either at all. That's another thing I appreciate with you. You had watched the first half of the show, but you had seen the trailer, and you're going like, fuck, I saw the trailer, and the first half is nothing of what I expected. And you didn't tell me what the trailer was, so my experience, experiencing the happy-go-lucky, goofy, comical stuff in the first episodes and then having it transition into a more serious show was really surprising because I didn't know what to expect at all. All I knew was that the show was named Steins, and I hadn't looked anything else up.
Yeah, whereas my friend Greg and I, since we watched the trailer, we were waiting for this premise that the trailer sells you to start. It's like, this show isn't serious, this isn't going on, what the hell? Right. And then, about episode 12, it just smacks you in the face and starts all of a sudden.
Yeah, because it almost did feel kind of goofy, like Devil's a Part-Timer in the first couple episodes. I mean, the humor is probably a little bit better, but
because the main character is a character. He has a persona. His name is Rintaro Okabe, I believe, but he goes by Hoin Kiyoma.
Yes.
This persona that he made for himself, and it's just he does maniacal, crazy.
I'm a mad scientist.
He has names for everyone. Refuses to call them by their real names.
Yeah.
Walks around talking on his phone, saying that the organization is after him, talking to himself in his phone. Like, he's a complete nutball, but it's amazing.
Yeah, he's very, very, very charming. And I know anime is, full of really, really charming characters, but I gotta say, man, he's probably the most charming character I've ever seen.
Especially because underneath the nutball, there's actually, like, a really sincere, good character underneath there.
Man, yeah, it is hard to talk about too much because you really don't want to spoil this kind of show. If you have any interest in not even just anime, but if you like time travel, if you like good stories, fuck, you need to watch this.
Yeah, it's either my number 2 or number 1 best of all time.
All right, whoa, shit, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't. I mean, I'll just go like, all right, it might be my favorite because I don't know how to really put a number on it.
I don't have most of them numbered. It's really just a top 5 list, not numbered. But for the actual top spot, this is either at it or next to it.
Yeah, and you can't argue that. I mean, this show is something special. I don't think there's anything like it. And unless they do a second season, I don't think there ever will be anything quite like it.
Yeah, and it is based on a visual novel. 5PB and Nitro Plus make visual novels. They've made a lot. Some of them are good, some of them aren't. Some of them are dating, like they're all over the place. But 3 of theirs have been transferred or adapted into anime series. This, Robotics Notes, and Chaos Head. Robotics Notes is supposed to be fairly good. That's the next one I'm watching with Greg. Chaos Head was only turned into a half season, and while the game is supposed to be good, the anime adaptation is not. Interestingly enough, too, something that's really cool, both Chaos Head and Robotics Notes take place technically in the Steins Gate universe, just on certain specific world lines, in the alpha, one in the alpha, one in the beta.
Oh, dude, really?
Yep.
So now I have to watch Chaos Head anyway. Matter of fact, now I have to buy it. Just because it's like anything to do with Steins Gate.
Now, they're not, I mean, there's tiny little nods to show that they're connected. It's nothing substantial. It's more just a fun thing, but yeah, they're technically in the same multiverse.
That's enough for me, because I'm fucking stupid. Like, so much so to the point that, yes, I did pirate this show. The night Logan brought it up, I downloaded it and started watching it that night. But the next day, before I went to bed after finishing this series, I had bought the series on Blu-ray, bought the game off Amazon, and pirated a copy so that I could immediately start playing. So, obsessed with the show. Love it. And, yeah, I didn't know anything about, what is it? Robotic Notes?
Yeah, and Chaos Head.
Yeah, I knew about Chaos Head only because Amazon had suggested it to me. And I saw that it also had a semicolon, and I was like, oh, that's strange. But I didn't know anything about Robotic Notes. Now I need to have both of those in my life.
Indeed. Well, I'll be starting up Robotic Notes at some point this week with Greg, so I'll let you know how that goes.
All right. Well, I got two other things. If I could just throw out there real quick. I know it's not, we can't have a discussion because you haven't watched either of them yet, but also because of the Amazon suggestion that I found out Chaos had about, I found out about C, the something of something, and money and control and possibility.
In the localized title is Sea Control.
Is it? Okay. Anyway, it's holy shit, man. I don't know what to say about this show. I don't know if it was really, really good or just kind of unique. It's really hard to say what I feel about the show. I will say that it's definitely unique. I've never seen a show really go after the topic of economics like this.
This guy hasn't watched Spice and Wolf, people. Keep that in mind.
Yes. Well, yeah, but this, I mean, I don't see. Yeah, I haven't, and I don't know how they use economics in that. But in this, like, economics is kind of just a filter they use to tell stories about men and their ambitions and their pride, and how even people who maybe cause bad things to happen, in this case financially, which leads to all different types of changes, maybe their motives are good, and it's kind of about would you trade your future for a better today, or would you leverage your future? It's just really weird, and it all ties all that in by using money as the vessel to tell these kinds of stories.
Interesting.
Unfortunately, it's a little short. It's only 11 episodes.
Yeah, that sucks.
And it doesn't feel like when they started making the first couple episodes that they only planned on doing 11. It honestly feels like they wanted to make a longer show, but maybe somewhere around 8 episodes into production, they got a call saying, hey, you're only going to get 11, wrap everything up. And so because of that, it does get a really satisfying ending, but the events immediately leading up to the ending, a lot of them feel pretty rushed. Like, the pacing switches for, like, episode 9 and 10 into, like, overdrive, because it seems like they tried to cover another season of material in 2 episodes.
Right. It looks like it is not based on anything. It is an original story, so
it's just really weird then. It just seems... the ending itself is satisfying, so you won't walk away going like, oh, it's fucking stupid. But how they get there, the build-up to it immediately in the episode before it really, the pacing is all off. It kind of just feels crammed. There's a handful of loose ends because they didn't take the time to explore characters. There's a lot of supporting characters that show up that are really interesting that you see for like 2 minutes in this episode, and then you don't see him again till like episode 8, 9, and then you start seeing a little bit more, and then they drop off, and you never get anything about them. So that's kind of disappointing.
It's on my list. There's no doubt. There's a couple of shows that just didn't go on big sale over this last anime buying season, which is the end of November, beginning of December, and didn't end up picking it up because of it. But I will keep watch out for it because it sounds and looks cool.
Yeah, it's unique enough, and definitely better than mediocre enough to justify giving it a watch. Especially it's only 11 episodes. It's not a huge time sink. And speaking of this is the last thing that I watched, last show that I remember, that I think was also just 11 episodes, but way more disappointing for me, was Psycho Pass Season 2.
Season 2 is only 11 episodes?
Yep.
What?
Yep. And I don't want to get into it too much because I know you haven't watched Season 1 or 2 yet. I love Season 1. Psycho Pass is a really, really great show. And Season 2 is not bad, but it doesn't fucking live up to 1 at all.
That sucks. And why is it so short? God, that's like a short half season as a follow-up. What a bunch of bullshit.
And there's not going to be a Season 3. The Psycho Pass Season 2 is the conclusion to Psycho Pass.
Does it conclude it at least then?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's good. Even if it's a shitty conclusion, God, give us one.
Yeah. Well, and you know what? Psycho Pass Season 1 kind of concludes, and they managed to do a Season 2, but you at least felt like there was more of a chance of that happening after Season 1. It doesn't really feel like there's a chance of a Season 3 Psycho Pass, and if they do, it better not be as weak as Season 2. I mean, that's all I'm going to say. I'm open for another season, but I'm definitely cautious.
Interesting.
But, hey, watch fucking Season 1 at least. I mean, I know you'll watch Season 2 if you watch 1, but damn, it's a great show.
Yeah, I've got Season 1 already. I got that over this past little season here.
Yeah, and I don't think Season 2 is not even on Blu-ray yet, right?
No, it's simulcasting from Japan, so we'll get a release of that at some point this year.
Yeah, and that's about it. Of course there's other things, but who remembers everything you do? Come on, people.
Yeah, for sure.
I tried to, let's see, have you watched any good movies?
Yeah, well, I've watched one good one and one that I really didn't like. Have you seen This Is the End?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't like Seth Rogen. I was hanging...
Really? I am Seth Rogen. Fuck.
No, I don't care for his style of comedy movies. Like, all of the people they had in that movie, I don't like. Jonah Hill, Seth Rogen, all of those people, I think they're unfunny douchebags that idiots in high school think are funny because they're stupid. Like, I can't stand their films. I don't know why I watched that.
I loved it. This Is the End. It's not a smart movie or anything. It's just dumb fun. Like Pineapple Express. That's what all their movies are. They're not, I would never run out and say they're good movies, but they're funny comedies.
Yeah, and everybody has a very subjective taste in comedy is the thing. The comedies that I like, there's two specific things. I like very witty and purposefully ironically created situations like Frasier. It's extremely witty, and like someone
right.
that doesn't get it would not laugh at all during the show, where I'm pissing myself because there's so many like subtleties to it. Or British humor. Those are the two things that I like. Stupid, I don't think is funny.
See, yeah, and I like everything, man. Well, not when it comes to comedy. I haven't really seen anything I don't like unless it's that fat bitch from Bridesmaids that everybody loves.
Oh God,
Melissa McCarthy. She's not funny at all to me, but almost everything else I find very funny.
Like other examples, I can't stand Will Ferrell because it's stupid. I don't like Adam Sandler because it's stupid. Like I cannot get on board with the quote unquote dumb comedies. I just can't.
Yeah, not a big Adam Sandler fan. Although, you know what? I do like some of his movies, especially some of the older ones, and I don't actively hate Adam Sandler like the rest of the internet does. But like Grown Ups and Grown Ups 2 and all the shit he did with Drew Barrymore and all that shit just makes me want to puke. But I'll get stoned and watch Little Nicky, or what is that? Punch Drunk Love. Everybody hates that movie. Or Rain Over Me. That was a good one. He has some good movies under his belt, man.
Yeah, I can somewhat stomach Happy Gilmore and Waterboy just because I was a kid. And
yes.
There's a certain value of nostalgia, even though I didn't even like them as a kid. Like, it's nostalgia for something I didn't like, but still.
You know what? And that's the thing. For me, I mean, I grew up a jock for the most part, I guess. And so, like, all my friends still quote those kind of stupid-ass movies. So it's just like they always kind of lived on forever, like Waterboy and Billy Madison and Happy Gilmore and shit. Little Nick. Popeye's chicken is fucking awesome. Come on, dude. Grow up, Logan. You need to grow up.
Grow up to grow down.
Yeah, well, you know, I guess you're right. Comedy is very subjective, but if you're not an angry, bitter person, maybe you can just enjoy everything like I do.
Yeah, like if you have no taste, then you can just enjoy it.
If you have no taste, it all tastes like chicken, and it's all delicious.
There you go. Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it.
Hey, you know what? I like being blissfully ignorant, I guess. I don't need taste, because I find, not that I find Monty Python as funny, as, you know, or like just as funny as some Adam Sandler shit. No, obviously Monty Python's much funnier. But it's all about what you're in the mood for.
Yeah, and for me, it's like, am I in the mood to laugh, or am I in the mood to be bored and angry, you know?
See, but even then, you should be, like, laughing that This Is the End is an insanely successful movie, and everybody in the world spent a bunch of money to go see it, and, like, they're going to end up making more movies like this. And you can laugh at how stupid people are. You can look down on the people like you already do, but this time laugh at it.
I watched it with...
Instead of getting angry at how stupid they are, laugh at them.
I watched it with a friend from work and his 2 roommates, and they love it and were really into it.
See, that's why you hate it so much, because you're projecting your hate of them onto the movie.
No, it's not even that.
Watching them laugh at it made you angry.
What made it really hard is that I couldn't sit there and be all bitter and pissed off about it because I didn't want to be a dick. Like, I was like, oh yeah, that was a good movie. Yeah, I'm glad we watched that. You know? But I'm thinking to myself, I just wasted 2 hours of my life.
Like, oh, okay, next we're watching Pineapple Express. You had to excuse yourself.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm going to go hang myself from your ceiling fan, so I'll be back.
Try to get those guys. Okay, you put up with their bullshit. Next time you go over there, you got to fucking whip out a copy of Frasier and show them what real humor's like.
There you go. Sophisticated humor.
Yes.
We did follow it up with From Hell, though, so it wasn't a complete waste.
Hey, that's a great movie.
I fucking love that movie.
That's one of the serial killer movies that, I remember you were like, oh, why? Because I told you I was on a big serial killer movie kick.
Oh, yeah?
That's one that I watched.
It's, you know, that's based on a graphic novel from the V for Vendetta and Watchmen guy. Alan Moore, I think his name is.
Yep, Alan Moore.
Yep, it feels like that, too. It's a very stylized movie. God, I love that film. Depressing, though. God, the ending, like every possible bad thing that can happen does, all right at the end.
Yeah, it's definitely, it's not an uplifting movie, but sometimes you need the depressing movies, you know?
Yeah. So I've watched one other film that I'm going to talk about, and that's me done. The Others, which I think I saw a long time ago, but I just didn't remember. It's a 2001 film. It's Nicole Kidman. It's set in, like, 1940s, right after World War II, in some isle of England, in this big, creepy old house surrounded by mist. She has it's her and her 2 kids. The kids are photosensitive, so the whole house has to be dark all the time with curtains over everything. And 3 of these people that used to work at the house come, like, servants, basically, you know, gardeners, maids, etc. They come back to work there again because her previous servants disappear, and they think the house is haunted, but it's not quite accurate. I'm just going to leave it at that. But everybody gives a really good performance. It's very tense, and a younger Nicole Kidman is, that's all right.
Wait. You say that's not quite accurate. I would say that's 100% accurate.
Okay, well, depending on how you want to look at it.
They say the house is haunted, and they ain't wrong. But they have no idea what kind of haunted.
It's a good film, though. If you haven't seen it, highly, highly recommend it.
Yeah, it's one that I remember seeing, but didn't remember anything about until you were like, it's Nicole Kidman, and then immediately like, oh, in a mansion, and haunting, and blah, blah, blah. But I still kind of want to watch it again because I know it's probably better than what the little tiny I remember the spoiler part, but I don't remember how they found out the spoiler parts. And that's the interesting stuff on those kind of movies.
Yeah, definitely. Although it was nice not remembering the story, and I kind of started figuring it out, but it's on sale on Blu-ray right now from Barnes & Noble for $5. You need $25 for free shipping, but I'm just going to toss another couple of things on there and call it good.
Well, yeah, okay, but like in 2001, by you saying like, oh, her kids are really photosensitive and they have to keep the house dark. In 2001, that's not a spoiler. But nowadays, you're like, I know the whole story now, you know. So.
Well, no, they tell you that in the beginning anyway. Like that's why the whole house is dark. She explains.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. If you did that now, if somebody started a movie like that, most people would be like, oh, okay, I know the story now. But in 2001, you could get away with that and be like, oh yeah, they're photosensitive, man.
Yeah.
I don't feel like it works anymore. Like I feel like that's why you started piecing it together. You're like, oh yeah.
No, actually, you're remembering.
We've seen movies like this.
No, you're remembering wrong. They were actually photosensitive. I don't want to give it away for the podcast. Maybe I'll type it in Skype, but where you're going with that isn't quite accurate.
Oh, okay, yeah. I had a question, but I'm not going to ask it because I don't want to spoil it. And you know what? I don't need to. I'll rewatch the fucking movie myself.
Okay, never mind. I won't put it in Skype either then. I'll just...
Yeah, that's cool. All right, that's our homework, folks. I'm going to watch it with you. Everybody, we're watching the others. And you know what? Fuck it. While we're talking about Nicole Kidman, everybody watch Eyes Wide Shut, too. It's better than people remember.
Is that saying much?
Yeah, I think the movie got a lot of heat because, like, the rumors about the studio... Basically, Kubrick finished shooting the movie and then died during editing, and then the studio stepped in and recut the film. So it's not Kubrick's cut. So there's a lot of, like... It got a lot of hate because of that, and I feel like a lot of people didn't appreciate the movie that was there because they were... pissed off they didn't get the movie that they would have got or thought they were going to get and stuff like that.
I can kind of understand that, though. That's the type of thing I could see myself getting lost in. And you, too, for that matter.
Yeah, no, I do. I do, too. I'm pissed because, dude, especially with Kubrick. Like, Kubrick's not, you know, he's not fucking Gary Ross or whoever's shooting, like, the next Hunger Games and, you know, he's just going to shoot a bunch of footage and drop it off to be edited by, like, Kubrick was, he was, like, Hitchcockian, like, super, super into the details and like...
Oh, like his vision from beginning to end.
Exactly. Like, if this button is showing on that motherfucker's shirt, it is for a reason because Kubrick demands that button... Like, I mean, he was that... So, of course, you know, to not get his cut is a, you know, that hurts.
So rare nowadays.
Yeah, exactly. Because he didn't just love film, like, he was obsessed. And, you know, obsession is very, very creative. But it's still a really good movie. And, you know, fucking Nicole Kidman was fucking fine in 99.
Well, she was just as fine in 2001.
All right. Well, there you go. Everybody, you got some fucking shit for the old spank bank. And some good movies, too.
Yeah.
I mean, I can throw out two movies that probably most people haven't heard of. Well, fuck it, I'll throw three, because the other one I feel really strongly about. But I'm not going to even mention too much what they're about. Inherent Vice, I watched. That's the newest one from Paul Thomas Anderson. The Master, There Will Be Blood, Boogie Nights, Magnolia.
Okay.
You know, I'm a big fan of writer-directors. As far as I'm concerned, it's him and Tarantino at the top of the list of, you know, best writer-directors right now. And this movie doesn't disappoint. It's great. It's kind of like an homage to 70s exploitation films and film noir-style films kind of mashed together. And, you know, Joaquin Phoenix is a private detective in California, working the case of a missing girl. And
what do you think of him? I can't decide how I feel about him. I really can't.
You know what? I haven't seen most of his stuff, but what I have seen him in, he's always been really good.
Okay, fair enough.
I don't remember him in Signs because I forgot that movie on purpose. Because
Signs.
Yeah, I thought you didn't remember. I was gonna be like the one where the fucking aliens decide to invade the one planet where they're, you know, can be beaten by what it's made of. It's just water, really. The dumbest fucking aliens in the galaxy. That's 80% water, our mortal enemy. But I don't remember how he was in that. But he was good in 8mm as the creepy porn vendor. That was an awesome movie, even though it had Nick Cage. He was great in The Master.
I bet Nick Cage played Nick Cage in that movie because he always
did.
played.
He was Nick Cage, totally Nick Caging it up as a private investigator. And James Gandolfini was being all James Gandolfini. It was fucking. That's a good movie, man.
Yeah. Now, people, don't get me wrong. I like a lot of Nick Cage movies, but he's not an actor. He's just Nick Cage with a different hat on.
It's so true, but who cares? Like, he still makes some good movies. It's just like he's never that great. But
he's very consistent. How about that? Is that diplomatic?
Yeah. Well, at least he's more consistent, like being like 8mm Nick Cage than he is being like Vampire's Kiss Nick Cage, where he's just screaming and incoherent and like. I don't like to think of that movie. I like to think of fucking Raising Arizona and shit like that, or The Rock, or Face Off. But
awesome.
Anyway, Inherent Vice. Please watch this movie. It has nothing to do with Nick Cage.
This has everything to do with Nick Cage.
I wish I had a Nick Cage movie to talk about now that I watched recently, but unfortunately I don't. The next one is Birdman. And if I tell you what the movie's about, like, you're not going to want to watch it because it seems so boring, the topic. It's about an actor facing possibly the end of his career, and so now he's trying to put on a Broadway play to kind of revitalize his creativity or to prove to himself that he actually did something, because he's like an actor who just did a bunch of superficial roles. They say he played superheroes and stuff and never really experienced any kind of satisfaction or, recognition from his peers. So he really wants to prove himself as an artist, and he's got this idea to do it with a Broadway play. And really it's just about men and pride and, or humans even. I know women have pride as much as men, even though they don't talk about it, and just facing the end of your life and feeling like you haven't done, even no matter how much anybody tells you you've accomplished things, you just feel like you haven't done it or you haven't done enough. And this movie's about that, and the breakdowns and all this. It's just a really, really good movie, and it's really creative. It sounds, mundane and stuff, but it's so worth your time. I can't recommend a movie higher this year than Birdman.
Damn. Huh. Well, okay.
And if I did recommend one higher, it would be for a completely different reason, and that would be Boyhood. Everybody from fucking, 2 years old to 200 years old needs to watch Boyhood this year.
Nobody's 200 years old, right? Like, that's
there might be some, like, old Jews somewhere that are 200.
No, I'm saying your, like, entire worldview is flawed if you think there's 200-year-old people. Like, it's...
I don't know, man. There could be some old fucking Jews. I'm telling you, them Jews. Like,
why
they
Jews?
say, like,
why
Jews? Because remember they said, like, the rumor was like Native Americans were just like the lost Jewish tribe, and we haven't even discovered all of them. So maybe there's some like Jewish pygmy motherfucker that's like 200 who's like, fuck you, Logan. I'm 200, bitch.
He's not real.
All right. Well, okay, from 2 to 102. How about that? I know that works.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, you can't argue that. Somebody's like 108 still. But it's the most heartfelt and genuine movie ever, and there's a good reason for that. And it's because the way it was shot is, I think it was for 2 weeks every year, the director would go back and shoot segments with a real kid. So basically, almost a documentary of this kid's life, but it's not, because it's all put into the form of a movie. It's so strange, but so good. And there's nothing has ever been done like this to this degree. There is a documentary out of the UK that I can't remember the name of right now. You can find it very easily. It's like they interview like 8-year-olds and then come back when they're 18 and then come back when they're 28 and then come back when they're 38. But that's like a documentary. This is it's a merger between documentary and fiction, and it's just a beautiful movie, man. It's great. Watch it with your dad. It's fucking amazing.
Huh. Okay, I'll keep that in mind.
But or watch it with your son. People just watch this movie. And that's about it. I mean, of course, I've watched a billion other movies, but if I talked about every movie I'd watch, dude, I mean, I already never shut up, but holy fuck.
So yeah, we've think we've kind of come to the end of it here.
Have we already? This soon? No.
That's impossible.
Yeah. Unacceptable! That's the other thing. Do you ever watch cartoons? We've never talked about this. Do you ever watch cartoons?
Not anymore, no.
Oh, not anymore. Listen to this fuck. This motherfucker.
I tell you what, though, Netflix added a bunch
grown up for cartoons,
Netflix added a bunch of Cartoon Network stuff back on, and I have perused that a little bit. I'll take me some Johnny Bravo, Courage, and Dexter's Laboratory.
There you go. Yeah, I'll take all that. Actually, I think, oh man, sad news. I think the chick who did Dexter just died.
What a bitch.
In the last month.
That's really selfish of her.
Yeah. There goes the reunion show. But I love cartoons and adult cartoons. Like I was, Adventure Time and Regular Show, Venture Brothers, BoJack Horseman. That's a Netflix original. You should check that out. That's pretty fun. It's got Will Arnett. That's a good show. Like shit like that. I don't know if you ever checked that out. What kind? I know you're a fucking nerd still. Like you look down on people who watch cartoons, but I'm sure you'd love to tell me what manga you've been reading, cock.
Oh yeah, because you just spent an hour talking about anime, but manga's right out.
No, I love all of it. I'm saying you got levels to it. You're like, I don't watch cartoons anymore.
Oh no, I don't have anything against cartoons at all. I don't choose to partake in them anymore, especially because the cartoons went to shit after I grew up. Like all the newer cartoons suck.
It's true, man. But I'm telling you,
Except
you gotta check out. Yeah, SpongeBob's alright.
I love SpongeBob.
You gotta check out Adventure Time and Regular Show, and I'm sure anybody. This is how we know if people listen to the show, because they will fucking tweet you and tell you how much you need to watch Adventure Time and Regular Show.
Never heard of Regular Show. Seen a little bit of Adventure Time. I don't care for the art style, but I definitely haven't watched enough to have any type of opinion on it.
Yeah, well, I'm telling you, I think you would really enjoy the content of the show. But especially just being I think those shows are given to kids, but I really believe they're made for 25 to 30-year-old men who grew up playing video games. So it's like, I don't know.
I like it when kid shows have stuff like that in it. Like Courage had some really dark shit in some of the episodes.
Oh yeah, I've got the whole series, dude. I love Courage.
Like the uncle or the cousin that comes who's being naughty. That whole one is amazing and it's fucking creepy.
Yeah, it's a great show. And Johnny Bravo was great too, but it's like to watch it now, it is creepy.
You know why? Because that was a pre-PC world.
Yeah.
And it was better for it.
It was, way better for it. Because that's the thing, people are like, oh, these role models. No! Cartoons were never a role model. They never were held to that kind of standard. They're cartoons, people. But now, you watch Johnny Bravo and it's put under that filter automatically. Subconsciously from your brain, because you just can't help it. But I love it for that. And because it's like, if you look at it through that filter, it's like basically just a show glorifying and lovingly looking at basically a rapist. And
he's like the Disney version of a rapist, though. He's gonna rape the shit out of you by holding your hand and trying to kiss you.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is he's a rapist who he doesn't have the taste for blood yet, but if he accidentally ever picked it up, he would just be full blown. He's just on the edge all the time.
It's true, and he's big enough where he could strangle a bitch and it'd be no problem.
Oh yeah. And all it would take is too many fucking old Budweisers for Johnny Bravo there, and he's fucking that little kid, dude. She wants his dick. So it's just a dangerous, dangerous show.
It's true. It's almost like a how-to guide.
I think Seth MacFarlane actually wrote for that show.
Really?
Or animated that show. Yeah.
Crazy.
That was one of his earlier gigs before Family Guy. Which you're a huge fan of, right?
I absolutely love Family Guy. He's a liberal piece of shit, and I hate when he injects his opinions into it, but I just love Family Guy.
Yeah. I think I like American Dad better, but, I used to like Family Guy quite a bit. That's the thing, is I understand why people don't watch these shows anymore. A lot of people don't watch Family Guy or American Dad or South Park or The Simpsons or this anymore, and it's I get it. But that's because, a handful of them started to suck. I think Family Guy started sucking for me. The Simpsons kind of... I don't know if it started sucking or if it's just that... It's just, I don't want to keep continuing with that formula of The Simpsons. Because, like, South Park, I feel, has just, at some points, really just gotten better.
Oh, I think
as it's aged,
modern
like
South Park
keeps getting better.
Modern South Park is better than older South Park. It's slicker, it's more processed, more refined. The jokes are wittier and sharper. Like it's better.
Yeah, and I think that show was always good, and it's just continued to get better and better and better and better.
I think they really hit their stride around season 6 or so, and have just gotten better since then.
Yeah, well, they started moving to the.
They also started getting more topical, which I think helps.
Yeah, that's what happened, is because they moved to the split seasons where they do 7 episodes in the spring, 7 episodes in the fall. But I get it why people don't watch it, but I don't count it out, man. These animated shows for quote unquote adults. Archer is fucking phenomenal.
And Bob's Burgers
it continues to get better. Yeah, Bob's Burgers is good, and see that has like a Simpsons-esque formula. The same thing as Family Guy, American Dad, and all the shows like
family,
that.
basically. Like,
right.
That's what it comes down to.
But that was fresh enough, and it's I don't know. It was able to grab your interest, even though I think overall we're kind of tired of those kind of shows. Animated sitcom shows.
The main character, the voice works really well, too. It's Carl from Family Guy, and it's great.
Carl from Oh, yeah. John Benjamin.
The convenience store guy, yeah.
Yeah, he's also, Archer, you knew that.
Mm-hmm.
But you haven't watched, you said you watched like a couple episodes of Archer. I still think that if you got into that show, it would be your favorite, but...
Yeah, I'll have to give it a try at some point, like another better try.
Yeah, if you can get over the art style.
Which I do not like. Nope.
I love it. So I would never recommend Frisky Dingo to you, because that same art style, but the characters maybe aren't as good as Archer's, but I love that goddamn show.
Mm-hmm.
But, alright, well, before this turns into fucking... Let's just randomly say whatever cartoon comes in my brain.
Yeah, this is turning into the Ramblecast now.
I would like to thank you, Logan.
Thank you, Sean. That was fun.
Thank you. Thank you. So thank you so much. Thanks.
All the time.
No, I always have fun, and I'm glad to be back doing this on a regular basis.
Yeah, most definitely. And we'll be back next week with a theme show. It might be the problems with modern FPS. It might be our favorite of a genre of this or that, or overlooked Super Nintendo. It could be whatever the fuck we want. It's going to be some type of theme show, though. Yep. And we'll keep that going.
Spoiler alert, we don't have any fucking clue what it's going to be yet. But
and also, this just goes without saying for, like, from now until the end of eternity or whenever we stop doing the show, which we're not planning on. Shoot us something on Twitter. If you have any ideas about, hey, I would love to hear a topic show about this, okay, let us know.
Yeah, or even, like, if you're like, man, I would really like to get on there and talk to you guys about blah, blah, blah. If you don't sound like a fucking moron, maybe. Yeah, definitely, but even easier, just give us some ideas for theme shows. If there's something you want to hear about, man, let us know. If it's not horrible, we'll do it. Yep. Yeah, the only things that we're doing that are horrible are our own horrible ideas. Yeah, and you can fuck off. We're doing those anyway. But we will be back with more Super Limit Break. We ain't going anywhere. Promise. Yep. Take your promise. One out. See ya. 右から3番目に並ぶよくある感情ダウンロード左の劇場も欲しい無限の可能性選べラグラリ感覚だけで相手向くやってつまらない欲でバランスとって愚かに人並みになってゆく前かったメイド企画がいいの誰かにラブで見せる遺伝子に背を向けてロックセそのままの状態
つま先立ちをしても届かない愛情不機嫌な午後その姿を変えてゆく生きてる人は全て欲しがる体はもう無駄なものばかりマイカスタメイドもはや何を自分というのだろう並べられてくファイルには単純な手が偽らなくて息をするように引き寄せるだけのサプライズ